3. Thuzgizisk sits and watches a dwarf in his workshop. It has a great view through its scrying pool and is watching every move. The mastery of this dwarf draws the attention of this Illithid. Its face tentacles rest and go numb on the cold, scrying bowl stone. The dwarf is a construct master, has been creating golems for decades, if not centuries, and is at work creating another for the protection of its city. It would be nice to know everything this lesser being knows about the process, but that may come in time. The colony has dwindled in power from the Gith attack only years ago. Some of the others got cocky then and traveled to the astral plane and investigated an issue, the loss of a colleague. The retreat had the colony lose many. Calling the loss a loss of friends would be a laughable moniker if the squid-faced species knew what humor was. The study of constructs can be the key to this colony's survival. Gestation takes a long while, and after many generations of being hunted down, known, and feared, many others take great offense to their need for procreation. Most other species don't appreciate how it is done as well, and have no mercy if any Illithid is ever seen, which is why they most often never leave the safety of their colonies. Some constructs are immune to their psychic attacks and abilities. If they could find ways to strike at those sorts of beings, they would be able to eventually turn the tide. Those constructs are often used against them if found out by lesser beings. It has watched this male dwarf at its work for many years without seeing any source of handling them. Perhaps making many of them on their own can be a key to their longer-term survival. A colony-wide message from the colony Elder Brain reaches Thuzgizisk.
All. We have information that the betrayal of the slave Gith years ago was due to the desire for power from a traitor, Venjoy-isk. It was from another colony and had some of its betters killed to be favored, and the Elder Brain of that colony did nothing. If found, it must be dealt with. It betrayed Elder Brain Tetra not far from us, and if seen in any plane, it is to be known immediately and hunted for the traitor that it is. It is not to join the collective due to deformity. Suggestions welcome on what to do with the waste.
How unique. A traitor amongst the Illithids? It would be an amazing study, but that sort of thing might be a welcome suggestion, and a true waste if it is just dissected. Would it be more useful to think of a unique punishment or a unique possibility of discovery? The traitor's location or the call to action didn't affect Thuzgizisk. It was watching a more important thing going on. If the dwarf was sitting around doing nothing, it would be easier to make contact and do as requested, but others would try to find the traitor. It has seen this dwarf make a few constructs now, and was simply watching to see if there were any thoughts along the way of creation. Its mind couldn't help but wonder at the possibilities of what to do with the brain of their kind. It would be a true waste, and even a little taboo, to consume another Illithid brain. They consume brains to live and fuel their psionics, but it has rarely, if ever, been done. What might be something fitting for it? Betrayal of the Elder Brain in any colony is considered amongst the worst of the worst treacheries. They consume slave brains often, so it would be dangerous to have slaves kill one of them in some sort of poetic justice. Would also be dangerous to have the traitor be a slave. They might quickly realize, even though they haven't over a long while, that the controlling masters are useless as slaves. Their arms are long and skinny and would break under too much strain. It has been working on some recent experiments with different things. Construct creation is one of the possibilities. Many smaller creations, instead of the large hulking ones that the dwarves most often create, has been in thought. Perhaps it should be placed in the head of a construct, only to watch and unable to do anything. There are brain constructs that the Illithid create, but that would give it some sort of control, and would be a waste of good brain. Watching over a bit of time, mixing the issue with some experiments that the researcher has come up with in the past many decades, a formula works through. and it watches the short and mundane creature make the construct. A plan on how to get something done forms in its mind. It needs to write some of this down. A pro-con list of sorts. Study, kill, punish. Weighing through the options, and there are many, it got direct answers through many around the colony. Killing it was a common part of the discussion. Punish through some sort of labor, or more. The others had to catch it first. Study. Someone could separate the layers and find what disforming problem might have caused the betrayal against the hive brain. If somehow caught again, the problem could be cut off before it could happen again. They can't be held well enough, so it would have to be preserved for that option. Kill. Sure, it would be going away, and this sort of thing hasn't happened much in their history. Who knows if it could happen again? And someone could just be getting away with it over centuries, but it isn't so well known. Blasting it away would prevent any way to find out why, or how, or for what. It thinks. Power? We all have power. Riches? Not in the least. They are baubles for the small folk. At least they have been for a long time. They don't need gold or gems for slaves. The lessers are nothing compared to them, and are forced to join the colony whenever they are caught. Punish. That is another thought. What punishment is fit? A cage? Never fit for them in their mind, and they are too superior to be kept or watched. None of them could whip the traitor, and letting a slave whip one of them could start something bad. Who could punish? How? A brain can be reserved, but then one of their brains could manipulate those around it. Are there different kinds of cages? Wait, did the dwarf just do something different? What was that spell?